So I decided for this video I will be doing a little bit of commentary on the piece I'm working on for this illustration. So I will be, talking a little bit when there's maybe certain tips or things that I was thinking when I was working on the piece. Aside from that, I might just let you guys enjoy some of the video in peace, just to, see my work and how I tend to do my traditional line work. So for now, I think I'm trying to just kind of get the basic shapes out of the way. So I try to do a lot of big strokes when I do a lot of my inking pieces, just so that it's a smoother line. It is a little bit difficult though in this particular drawing, just because I was trying to film, so I had to be mindful of the camera and the camera angles to make sure that my big head wouldn't be in the way. But yeah, especially for the hair, I really love drawing long flowy hair, and I feel like that's where you get a lot of the really nice movement for the piece. So I tried to be really mindful when it came to making the gestures and the line work to make sure they were really flowy. There's some pieces that I felt were very kind of stagnant, so in that situation I would probably stop and continue on in another area of the drawing. So that's just kind of what I'm doing now. I begin to ink the really big pieces. So it's always really important to, if you're doing fan art, to look at a reference, mostly to see what parts to color in all black. So I try to do the really solid dark colors, such as like a dark navy blue, maybe dark browns, any pinks and light browns. I try to leave or just lighter colors, I try to leave all white. I don't have any toner, so for grayscale later on you might see how I work with that, but for now I'm just trying to paint out all the black areas. That way, before I go in and do any more detail, it gives me a better understanding of the piece overall, like the composition, just to see which areas I could shade in more of a gray or a lighter black, just to try to make sure that the piece looks balanced. So for now, I'm just trying to draw out all the black. Another important thing to know, especially when you're coloring in with black, is to take into consideration the type of medium you're using. So in my case, for coloring in the black parts, I tend to either use, at the moment I believe it's a black brush pen. So if I'm doing that, the ink that I'm using for this pen in particular, I'm not sure how to explain it, but if you have ever tried to color in black parts with like markers or other mediums, you might notice that at the stopping point, if you try to continue on going back with the same marker or brush or whatever you're using, it might overlap. So you might tend to see two different black colors. In that case, you do have to be aware if you want to either do like one or two coats of black just to make sure that it's even, or if you have to do it off by sections. So in my case, luckily the brush pen I'm using doesn't do that overlapping, so it's still easier for me overall to do in small sections. I know sometimes if you use ink, there is a chance that it might your paper might, if it's not good consistency or good quality, your paper might rip as well if you do too much ink. So in that case, you might want to do small circular strokes for that. It really depends. So I just think that that's something to keep in mind when you go into a black and white piece, especially with ink, to know how much ink or what type of medium the paper you're using could use, especially for the overlapping of the blacks or the grays. So I just try to, play around more with lighter hair and add more textures, especially if it's like hair that's flowy. I want to make sure that those same textures I have going along with the flow of the hair, just to make it pop out more. And I have to keep in mind also like the ribbons in her hair and the ruffles in her hair. Would there be a shadow casted on that? Under the ruffle there would be a shadow, so I want to make sure that I go in and make it a little bit darker. So there's just little things like this that I try to keep in mind. And if I'm not really sure, I try to look back at some mangakas that I look up to. Like I really love their art style, and I try to see maybe how they do their placement for the ink. And just kind of get a little bit of like pieces of this and that to it, in the end of the day, kind of make it your own and add it to your own pieces of art. And I think earlier I also mentioned a little bit of when it came to like cross hatching and trying to make areas that looked darker but were not completely black. So I try to do that mostly with the ruffles in the bows and the shadows in the rest of the lace, or the ruffles, the bows around Miku's hair and her hairpiece. I try to either do a little bit of cross hatching or pointillism, so I feel like I have more control that way. That way I could give the perception of depth of the clothing and the ribbon. And if I want to go back and I feel like it's too light, I could always go ahead and add more little points or little brush strokes to make it seem like, there's a shadow in that ruffle or that lace. And it's just, having to do that, and I do it piece by piece just to kind of see how it's coming along. I want to make sure that the bows are somewhat similar in the texture I'm giving it, just to look more cohesive. But yeah, pretty much when the piece is 95% done, I like to go in, and for my traditional pieces, I like to go in with a gold marker, and I like to add little like gold accents just to make it all come together and add that magical little pop of gold. So usually when I'm doing this for characters, I like to go look at their original designs and see if they have any gold accents on their outfit, like a brass or a brooch, if they have like a golden tiara, or like the buttons on their outfits. If they're gold, then I like to go in with my gold marker and make those pieces gold, just so it could stand out and look really pretty. And I also like to add little like sparkles in the background, little stars, just to kind of make it look complete and go for that shoujo look that I really adore and love to draw with. So yeah, that's pretty much that, and there she is, all nice and done. So that's pretty much it for the video. So if you lasted till the end, thank you so much for watching. Yeah, if you have any questions or anything in particular you would like me to talk about, if I do another traditional piece like this, please let me know. I'm still practicing working on like my Copic marker, so if that's something else you guys would like to watch, you know, please let me know. But yeah, thank you so much for watching to the end of this video, and hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you.